All right, we'll begin. Good evening, everyone. I am Gary Witherspoon, Deputy Project Director for Public Outreach for the Purple Line. On behalf of Governor Wes Moore, Acting Transportation Secretary Paul Wiedefeld, and Maryland Transit Administration Administrator Holly Arnold, welcome to the 10th Community Advisory Committee meeting for the Silver Spring area. Out of convenience to CAT members, we are continuing to host these meetings online for the time being. Please bear with us. As with any virtual presentation, we cannot guarantee a flawless meeting, but we'll do our best to make things run smoothly. Not to worry, this evening's presentation is being recorded. So in a few days, you'll be able to find this presentation posted on our website, purplelinemd.com. Please mute your microphones until after the presentation. For those who would like a live translation, the Teams format can translate this evening's comments into a number of languages, including Spanish, Arabic, Chinese, French, and Portuguese. There are also many more. Instructions for seeing live translations are being placed in the chat area of this meeting. Catherine Webb, the Communications Third-Party Coordinator for Maryland Transit Solutions, will now relay that information in Spanish. Catherine?
Buenas noches y bienvenidos. Para su comodidad, el Teams puede traducir esta reunión a varios idiomas, incluyendo español, árabe, chino, francés y portugués y muchos más. Las instrucciones para ver las traducciones en vivo están en la sección del chat. Back to you, Gary.
Gracias, Catherine. Now here's our meeting overview. Tonight we'll introduce you to our team leaders. We'll give you a project update and construction overview. We'll show you some progress photos and we'll answer your questions. Next slide, please. Tonight you'll hear from Matt Pollock and Ray Biggs II, the Executive Director and Project Director in the Office of Transit Development and Delivery, which oversees the project for the MDOT MTA. Then you'll receive a construction overview from Rafael Benitez and Haitham Fati, construction managers for the project builder, Maryland Transit Solutions. And you'll hear from our old friend, Carla Julian, the MTS Stakeholder Manager. Matt and Ray will fill you in on what is happening on the state side of the project. They will then turn the presentation over to MTS, which will provide a construction update and a plan forward. Finally, we'll give you reminders about things to look out for during construction, and we'll tell you where to submit questions beyond those that will be addressed tonight. Again, you'll be able to find the presentation later on our website, purplelinemd.com, along with responses to questions we could either not answer or could not get to tonight. We ask that you stay muted and hold your questions until after the presentation. Then we will open the meeting to questions, first from CAT members and elected officials. Respectfully, we ask that you limit your remarks to less than 2 minutes. We'll invite you to raise your hand to ask a question by clicking on the hand image atop your screen. Then you'll be acknowledged and you can speak. Also, you can submit questions via the chat option atop the page. Non-CAT members who are viewing the meeting and have questions can ask them using the chat function on your screen. Just tap on the icon, type in your question, and we will address your question if we have time. If your question is not addressed tonight, don't worry. All questions will be addressed later in a question and response posting on the website. Similar questions will be combined, so you may not see your question posted verbatim. Thank you for joining us. Here's Matt Pollock.
Fantastic. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight. Our community advisory teams, which we all refer to as CATs, are an important part of the Purple Line project. This first bullet highlights the purpose of our CATS meetings, which are open to the public and provide an opportunity for the Purple Line team to communicate and interact directly with you, our stakeholders. Stakeholders that are designated as CAT members are further encouraged to proactively share Purple Line information with their associated organization and the overall community. We also look to our CAT members to gather feedback from our stakeholders and engage directly with the Purple Line outreach team as questions or concerns arise. All right then, let's move on to the organization slide. Excellent. Here's the Purple Line project organizational structure that has been in place since April of last year. Our new design build contractor, Maryland Transit Solutions, is shown on the left side of the slide. The other parties shown here have remained in place on this public-private partnership, including our concessionaire, Purple Line Transit Partners, or PLTP, who are represented tonight by Dan Norman, PLTP's Chief Technology Officer. We also have our engineer of record, Atkins. We still have on the team our car builder, CAF. And of course, we still have on our team our operator, Purple Line Transit Operators, which consists of two companies, Alternate Concepts, which is known as ACI, and CAF, our car builder. All right, let's take a look at our revised project schedule. The new design build contract was executed in April of last year. During the spring, MTS engaged in its mobilization efforts, signing subcontracts, planning field activities, and performing due diligence inspections in the field. MTS construction activities ramped up over the summer, and active Purple Line construction can be seen over the entire alignment at this time. With all the work moving forward, we're really looking forward to the light rail vehicles to start arriving at the new Glen Ridge Operations and Maintenance Facility later this year. The test track area, excuse me, which is centered around the Glen Ridge Operations and Maintenance Facility, is scheduled for completion in the summer of 2024, kicking off a period of intensive local testing, integrated testing, and initial operator training while construction continues elsewhere along the alignment. In the winter of 2025, construction across the entire alignment will have progressed enough to allow for system-wide testing, full operational training, and the commissioning activities necessary to prove out a safe and ready light rail line. Passenger service is scheduled to begin in the fall of 2026. Now, as the Washington Post recently and correctly reported, our concessionaire's technical advisor has identified project challenges that they believe represent a potential 7-month slip in the overall schedule. Purple Line is a large, complex project being constructed in a densely populated urban area, which I'm sure all of you in the Silver Spring area are fully aware of. Most of these complex projects encounter difficult and sometimes unforeseen challenges on a regular basis. As these challenges arise, our primary duty is to seek out implementable paths forward that mitigate those potential impacts. For our current set of challenges, MTA, our concessionaire PLTP, and our design build team, MTS, got together and we formed a schedule mitigation tiger team in October to work closely together and focus on work sequences, alternative plans, and other options for working around the challenges that are threatening to impact the project schedule. At this time, there has not been a change to the contractual date passenger service. Once we've agreed upon and implemented a revised path forward, we can then evaluate the revised schedule to determine what the resultant project delay will be, if any. With that, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Purple Line Project Director, Ray Biggs. Some of you may not have met Ray yet, and I'm super pleased to have Ray on the team. As Project Director, Ray is the state's representative responsible for the day-to-day design and construction activities on the Purple Line. Ray?
Thank you, Matt. As Gary and Matt mentioned, for this evening, we will focus on construction occurring from the Silver Spring Station to the Dale Drive Station. Purple Line riders will have easy access to the enhanced Capitol Crescent Trail that we will be constructing as part of our project, and the green trail that runs throughout Silver Spring. Each of our stations will feature unique art installations, benches, trash bins, and message boards providing train arrival and departure information. Over the next few slides, we will show you renderings and designs for the 3 stations in this segment. You will see a locator map to the left to orient you to the area, identifying where the station will be located. And then on the right side is an engineering plan that highlights design features about the station. You will see details on these, such as lighting, shelters, and catenary pole locations. Next slide. This rendering features our Silver Spring station, located at the Silver Spring Transit Center, that will be located near the corner of Colesville Road and Wayne Avenue. The station connects to the top level of the Kiss and Ride at the Transit Center, and you will notice station construction is progressing, and we will cover that in the upcoming slides. The station allows riders to have easy access to a transit hub, connecting riders to local and regional bus services or shopping at diverse options of shops and restaurants in the area. Next slide. This slide features the design details for the Silver Spring station, as well as the locator map, as you can see in the bottom left corner. Next slide. This is a rendering of the Silver Spring Library Station featured at the library. The station is unique as the library was constructed to include the overhang, which is part of the station. From the station, riders will have easy access to the library and diverse local retail, restaurants, entertainment venues, and public spaces in the area. Recently, a fence was constructed to establish a work zone around the station. You may have noticed the purple fence around there. Next slide. These graphics feature the design details for the Silver Spring Library Station, as well as the locator map in the bottom corner. And if you look here, you'll see Bonifant is at the bottom, and this is going into the station. Next slide. The rendering is a generic representation of what a center platform station will look like, not exactly the landscape of Wayne Avenue. You will notice the station shelter is in the middle with train tracks on either side of the shelter. The area around this rendering does not represent Wayne Avenue, as there will be roadway with sidewalks on either side of the station and not the grass area on the right side of the rendering here. Let's go to the next slide. These graphics feature the design details for the Dale Drive Station on Wayne Avenue, as well as the locator map, as you can see there at the bottom too. Next slide. So now let's take a look at the accomplishments that have been happening along the Purple Line. Work has been progressing quite nicely, including progression of 5 bridges, including the Light Rock Creek Bridge, the Light Rock Creek Park Light Rail Bridge, and the opening of the Sleeper Underpass in Chevy Chase, opening the reconfigured bus loop at the College Park UMD station, beginning construction of 4 stations, including Glen Ridge, Riverdale Park, North UMD, Silver Spring Library, and Silver Spring, and completing production of 26 of 28 light rail vehicles. In the upcoming slides, we will highlight progression of additional work for the Silver Spring area. I will now pass the meeting to one of our construction managers on the project, Rafael Benitez. Rafael?
Hi, good evening, everyone. So as you can see on this slide, the work that we're doing over Colesville Avenue right now, we just resumed recently the work on this area. Currently, we're working on the next slide we'll show you. But we will work on the summer installing the safety measures, meaning all the protection for the works on the top of the structure over Colesville. We're going to install the deck pans, which is this the metal pans that you see between the beams, place the rebar, and place the concrete deck over the whole span that it's on over Colesville. The temporary link closure that we're planning to do at this point is nothing like we did or it was done when the beams were placed. We're working on plans that will require sections of this closure, so the impact will be way less as we place the protection and the safety measures, and some of this work will happen overnight. So if we can go to the next slide. So as you can see here, this is the portion that is going to be exactly on the station that we could see on the 3D on the side of the kiss and ride. So recently we began with the work in this area. We were placing the pans, as you can see on the image, on all these three spans is exactly where the station is going to be. So we installed the deck pans, and we also started with the installation of the reinforced the rebar. All the rebar is happening just now. And we're planning within a few weeks, we're going to be pouring this portion of the bridge. So next slide. So the other important portion of the work here, as you can see, is going to be this upcoming work. We don't have a precise date, but it's we're waiting for some approvals with WMATA most likely to get this access. So as you can see, we're gonna create access from Ripley Street to all this area where the mezzanine is gonna be built between the Wells Depot and the actual WMATA station. We're gonna install the bigger yellow stripe. It's gonna be the construction access where we're gonna place a crane to service all the activities of work from that area where the MARC platform is all the way to the mezzanine. We're gonna begin soon the partial demolition of the platform on the mezzanine and needed to build the foundations for the new mezzanine. And at the same time, we're gonna maintain access to the MARC and Metro platform. As you can see on the bottom right of the image, there's a blue stripe. That access has been built already, which is the new access that we're providing to get access to the MARC platform. So we can go to the next. So as you can see here, so in order to do this construction access, the big yellow stripe, the pedestrians will be the tour around the work zone and access the MARC platform via Ripley Street, which I just mentioned before. The tour signs will be posted to indicate all the pedestrians that get from the bus station directly to the MARC bridge. So we're gonna indicate how to access to Ripley Street. Most of the people is familiar with the area, but in any case, we're gonna have access signs to indicate that access. That access is not gonna be changed. The bus depot access, the platform, that bridge is gonna be demolished, as I just mentioned as well. Public access will be maintained at all time, and all the MARC riders should plan for an additional 5-8 minutes of walk if they were used to use the existing pedestrian bridge that it's indicated with those two small red crosses over there. And basically, that's the upcoming work on the Silver Spring Transit Center that we have, and the current work, as I just mentioned, on the Purple Line Station spans. Then I'll give you Haytham to explain the following work on the next slide.
All right, thank you, Rafael. Good evening, everyone. So on this slide here, this is the area that we identify as Bonifant West, which is the area from on Bonifant from Ramsey Avenue all the way to Georgia Avenue. So as you can see here, the recent and ongoing work in this area is we're continuing to relocate sewer, gas, and water utilities in the area, and also the power and telecom relocations are ongoing in the area. And here, pretty soon, upcoming work, we're going to start installing the storm drain on Bonifant, as well as restore the curb and sidewalk. And then we're going to also begin the installation of the new traffic signal at Georgia Avenue, as well as we're going to start the reconfiguration of the roadway to add the dedicated right lane from Dixon Avenue to Georgia Avenue. Next slide. This location is Bonifant East, which is basically from Georgia Avenue to Fenton Street. The recent ongoing work that's taking place right now is we relocated the sewer, gas, and water utilities in the area. And then we're continuing with the power and telecom relocations. And we also began the installation of the storm drain in this area. The upcoming work in this area is we're going to continue to remove the existing parking meters, street lights, and utility poles. We're going to install temporary lighting, and temporary parking will also be permitted for business deliveries and pickups throughout the duration of construction in this area. We're going to also restore the curb and sidewalk and also begin installation of the new traffic signal at Fenton Street. Next slide. Here is the Silver Spring Library and the work that's going to be taking place here at this location. The recent and ongoing work, as everyone seen in this area, we installed the work zone fencing and protection of the library structure around the future station. As you can see in this picture with the purple fence. We implemented the pedestrian detour with access maintained to the library and the surrounding businesses. And we also were demolishing the former pedestrian access adjacent to the library. The upcoming work here in the near future, we're going to start installing all the utilities that are proposed for the future station. And after that is completed, we will begin the actual station construction. Next slide. So Wayne Avenue. So the recent and ongoing work, we're going to divide Wayne Avenue into two areas. The first area will be from Fenton Street to Dale Drive, and Dale Drive to Sligo Creek Parkway. So in the area between Fenton Street to Dale Drive, we completed all the gas and water relocations. And we're going to continue with the sewer and telecom relocations in this area. From Dale Drive to Sligo Creek Parkway, we completed the sewer relocation. We implemented the lane reductions for storm drain and retaining wall installation. We're relocating telecommunication lines, and we're going to start excavating along Wayne Avenue for the temporary sidewalk restoration. Next slide, please. So Wayne Avenue, the upcoming work. In the area between Mansfield to Sligo Creek Parkway, the demolition and reconstruction of the bridge on Wayne Avenue over Sligo Creek will start. And we'll also begin the stream restoration and protection work in Sligo Creek. Next slide. So this area is East Wayne Avenue, which is Sligo Creek Parkway to the Plymouth Tunnel. The recent and ongoing work, we completed the sidewalk restoration, and we're continuing the sewer relocation at that area. The upcoming work here in the near future here, we're going to start installing the proposed storm drain in the area, and we're also going to complete the water and sewer relocations, and we'll also begin the retaining wall construction at the entrance of the Plymouth Tunnel. Next slide. So this slide is for pedestrian detour around Wayne Avenue. So on this picture here is, as everyone knows, this is Wayne Avenue right in front of the Sims school. So sidewalks along Wayne Avenue between Fenton and Sligo Creek Parkway will be impacted by construction activity for the next year. One sidewalk will remain open at all times. Pedestrians should follow the posted signage and cross at the nearest crosswalk. And flaggers will be present to support vehicular and pedestrian movements around the work zones when needed. Next slide. Continuing with the pedestrian detour, this is the Sligo Creek Trail pedestrian detour. In yellow here is the work zone where construction will take place. In light blue, it marks where the pedestrian detour to get into the Sligo Creek, Sligo Cabin neighborhood park, and also the Sligo Creek Trail. And marked in red is the locations where the trail is closed. So pedestrians using the Sligo Creek Trail will be detoured along Wayne Avenue around the established work zone through 2024. Next slide. So phase one, Wayne Avenue traffic shift, which already took place this week. So for pedestrians, in yellow here, this is the work zone. So as you can see on Wayne Avenue between Fenton and Dale, that one lane on each side is closed for traffic, and vehicles are flowing in the middle both ways. And then from Dale all the way to Sligo Creek Parkway, the north side of Wayne is closed, and the south side is where vehicles are flowing currently. So traffic is reduced to one lane in each direction, as I mentioned before, between Fenton to Sligo Creek Parkway, and there is not going to be a left turn permitted on Sligo Creek Parkway coming off Wayne Avenue. Next slide. And now I'll give it to Carla.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate your time. As always, we are meeting with local community and business groups. We have a 24-hour hotline and email that you guys are familiar with. If not, you can find it on the Purple Line MD website, and there'll be a slide at the end of the presentation tonight. If you recall a couple of slides previously where Hytham was speaking, there was a new purple wall that's enclosing the construction site at the Silver Spring Library. We are working with the local businesses and community to put some local artwork and open for business signage and art on that purple wall. And we're definitely open to additional signage in that area to help folks know that businesses are open. So just want everybody to keep that in mind. We do have budget and resources to do that, and appreciate everybody's input so that we can execute that the right way. If you are not familiar with our notifications, you definitely want to get familiar with that. You can get those emailed or texted to you, or you can just go to the website and check them out so you can see across the alignment, lane closures, night or weekend work that's going on. And obviously, as tonight, we will continue to host these CAP meetings. Next slide, please. Safety is our #1 goal. So we always like to remind people and keep it at the top of our list that as you are traveling in your car, walking, riding a bike through the work zones, to be alert. And we are working with elected officials and community to always, if we have to close a sidewalk on the north or south side, one will always be open and there will be a safe crossing. With all of our subcontractors and utilities, sometimes these things, somebody might close something. So if you see something, definitely let us know. We've got crews out there. We'll fix it immediately. And we try to stay on top of that. You're going to see cones, barrels, and then sometimes we have to put steel plates down to cover excavation areas. So if you see anything that you feel doesn't look exactly right, please call the hotline. I think pretty much everybody has my phone number. Text me, and we will get right on top of that. So please just stay off your phones and be very alert as you are traversing the work zones. I will now turn it back over to Gary, and I appreciate everybody's attention and time. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. That concludes our presentation. Before we open the meeting to live questions, we will address some of those that came in before the meeting. We received a lot of questions, so we'll pause after a few of the questions and take questions from the meeting attendees before we finish the pre-submitted questions. The first question: how much of the area around the library will be blocked off as construction progresses? The area needed to construct the Silver Spring Library Station was enclosed in January. So all of the room we need over there has been identified. Access to the library, the cafe, and surrounding businesses will be maintained at all times. Next question. The library community is concerned about egress, safe lighting, signage, and compliance for entrances. The answer is that the project carefully planned the work zone to ensure ADA compliant access is always available. While the fencing was recently installed, additional signage in the area will be installed in the near future. Next question. If there are interruptions to utilities during construction, how much advance notice will be provided? Construction is coordinated directly with the utility owner. All notifications specific to service disruptions will be provided by the utility owner directly to their customers. Next question: how is noise measured during construction, and who is accountable for making sure the public is unharmed by excessive noise levels? Answer: the project adheres to Montgomery County's noise limitations on our job sites. Operations are carefully planned to accomplish the task safely with minimal impact to the public, including noise and vibration. And we'll pause after this question and take questions from the floor. Can signage include contact information for the Purple Line? The public can always contact our 24-hour hotline with concerns. Signage will be branded with our information, and flyers have been distributed to the area. Now, before we continue with the pre-submitted questions, we'll open the floor first to CAT members and elected officials. I now invite you to raise your hand to be acknowledged. Out of respect to the many in the meeting, we respectfully ask you to keep your comments brief. Okay, I see a question from Kit Gage.
Hi, thanks for this program. I'm wondering, in the area around Sims and the Sligo Creek Elementary School, if there's a way to limit the construction during the times when the school kids are coming and going. There's a lot of car traffic already, and I know the crossing guards are trying to help, but if there's additional closures at the intersection of Dale and Wayne in particular, I'm wondering if they can be minimized during those timeframes.
Yeah, thank you, Kit. That's a good question. I think in general, our intent is not to impact pedestrian detours at all, and certainly not as as they relate to the school comings and goings. In general, that should never happen. So really, I would recommend keeping an eye on it. And if you find that we are not adhering to that, place a call. We will get out there and make sure our construction folks are helping out as necessary to make sure that all pedestrian detours are clearly and continuously open, especially when it comes to students traveling forward and backwards, to and from. Sorry, no one travels backwards.
Okay, next question from Melvin Tull.
Had to unmute myself. That east side of Bonifant Street is an interesting area. One might even say challenging, I guess. And I'm wondering about the new traffic signal pole there coming off Georgia Avenue onto Bonifant, just where it goes and really how much sidewalk room there is going to be to get around it, which I guess leads into maybe the first 50 feet of new curb and gutter and sidewalk going down that section of East Bonifant Street. And the sidewalk there, people use that sidewalk. There's a lot of shops along there. So the other thing I wonder in that stretch is how much room there is around the catenary poles. There's only a couple of them there, but how they sit in the sidewalk and the curb and gutter, that relationship, I don't think people want to have their shoulder too close to the passing trains as they walk down the sidewalk. So, I couldn't tell from the diagrams you showed there, but if you can come up with plans that show that sort of thing, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. No, I think probably the best answer would be that we need to go back and take a look at it and provide the answers as far as a written response, and maybe we can even get a good drawing in there showing an overhead view of where it's going to be. Certainly, pedestrian access, either going around a traffic signal pole or a catenary pole, has to be continually to the standards established for pedestrian movements. But rather than give you just a simple, well, it'll meet standards, I think it'd be better if we actually gave you a drawing on that.
I think we'd all be interested. Thanks, Matthew.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay, next question from Erin Johansson.
Yeah, hi. My question is related to the audits that were done a couple of years ago by the Purple Line for homeowners that were interested. They came around and took photos of the inside of our houses, and it was a rough summer with the construction right in front of our house, a lot of shaking and everything. So I'd be curious how myself and my neighbors would access those records to be able to go back and compare the photos that were taken at the time with what's happening in our houses right now.
I can answer that. This is Carla. If you want to send one of the outreach emails your address, and I will make those available to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Whose email do I email? Sorry.
If you look at we'll put it in the text or in the
maybe you could chat it
right here.
Great. Thank you, Carla.
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay, next question from Alan Bowser.
Thank you very much. Two quick questions. How often can we expect these CAT meetings? When can we expect the next one?
Purple Line.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Alan.
And then the second question is, who will be responsible for the removal of any graffiti on the barriers that separate the lanes on Wayne Avenue and other places? Who will be responsible for graffiti removal? Thank you.
Yeah. Carla, did you want to answer that as far as graffiti removal, or you want me to take that?
You're more than welcome to take it. I know
Sure.
during construction, we're going to assist with that. So please.
Absolutely. The easiest thing is to, give us a call or contact us through the outreach email. As far as graffiti removal, that does, if our MOT is being used as a playground in any way, shape, or form, we want to know about it so that we can do what we can. As far as the CAT meeting frequencies, we're still working on the bi-yearly, so twice a year is our current plans.
And if you see anyone spraying graffiti, please call the authorities. All right, we're going to take another question, and then we're going to pause and go back to some of the pre-submitted questions. Next question is going to come from Joel Ryerson. Go ahead, Joel. Okay, I think we've lost Joel. Let's go back to some of the pre-submitted questions in the meantime.
Okay, I think that falls on me now. I see there are a couple questions. First question, will you open the purple line in pieces or all together? We fully expect to open the entire system all at one time, and that's exactly how we've planned all of the construction. Another question. We are concerned about the recently reported 7-month implementation delay. What is the status of the utility setting, and what is being done to better coordinate the necessary tasks? For instance, is this a priority project for the utility companies? And if not, why not? Well, I mean, as you all surely are aware, utility relocations are continuing, and they will absolutely continue to be a challenge until completed. We on the Purple Line, we hold weekly meetings with our various utility owners to discuss the schedule as well as the upcoming work. We recently had a utility summit, is what we call the meeting, hosted by Secretary Ports back in the fall. And at that time, the utility owners all expressed their commitment to treat the Purple Line as a priority project. Question, why did the cost of the project increase? Well, certainly the Purple Line revised project costs was discussed pretty heavily during meetings and in the media about a year ago, but it's a great question, and I think it's worth repeating here. In our post-pandemic marketplace, major factors that influenced the updated cost included supply chain issues, rising material costs, not just delays in material, the labor shortage, which continues to be out there, inflation, and even insurance increases, all of which raise the cost of the project just by virtue that they're going up. But it also, increases the risk involved in the overall pricing to the private market. Government agencies, local jurisdictions, and private firms across the nation are experiencing significant increases on major projects due to these and other related factors. And then the follow-on question to that would be, who is paying for the project cost increase? It's really kind of a two-part answer. Our concessionaire PLTP will finance the additional project costs, or they are financing the additional project costs through a combination of debt and equity. PLTP, in turn, will then be repaid through increased availability payments made by the state during the 30-year operations and maintenance period. Gary, we can go back to additional questions from the group, although I also want to introduce that Montgomery County MCDOT is on the line, and I don't know whether Marcela Cordova has anything she wants to bring up. I don't want to leave them off the presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Matt.
Sure.
Is there a specific question, or? Oh, Chris is here as well.
There may be, but I didn't know. I didn't want you know, if you had anything you just wanted to say on behalf of the county. If not, we can certainly go back to questions.
Not at the moment, but we're here to answer any questions. We continue to work with you and your team and MTS. We have a pretty good partnership and collaboration. So, you know, we're here for everyone. We're enabling the project as much as we can, and we're here to support everyone. So,
Okay.
yeah, feel free to continue sending us any comments, questions, and we'll continue working.
All right. Thanks, Marcella. Gary, back to you.
Okay, Joel, are you there yet?
Good evening. This is Joe Wilson from Adelphi, Maryland, calling in. I've been income for the day one. I didn't see anybody working up in the third level today. And they are off today. It's just coming along on the Silver Spring station. I just had one question, but it's not this particular station. It's the right-on operations in Brookville Road. When I saw the original plan for the purple line, it's going right down Georgetown Trail. Are they going to take some of the property off from the operations, the right-on operations, the bus operations?
Joe, I believe the answer to your question is yes. There is a parking lot that is on what I would consider the rail or trail side of Brookville Road, right there near the ride-on facility. And that parking lot that you might see right now is being actually going to be turned into the Littonsville yard, which is a secondary maintenance yard and storage yard that we're going to have for the trains.
Okay. And I have to wait to complete, when they start completing the operation for the purple line. Then we find out how much it would cost to ride the purple line.
Yeah, absolutely. I would imagine that we're still a couple years out from determining the fares that are going to be charged on the purple line. I think it'll be much closer to operations, Joel.
Oh, right.
Okay, thank you. Next question from Lene.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, so I am one of the business owner on Bonifant Street. So this is a very expensive project. The only thing that I could not understand, who is responsible for signage? It says we always, every single morning, I go by, when you go on Fenton, it says street is closed, road is closed, but the signage that says business are open, you will see it after you pass. So what is the purpose of the signage there's business is open when you do not be able to see it? It's an amazing thing to me. I mean, it has a lot of money, but I don't see that we're spending money for a right signage for small businesses.
Yeah, we understand your concerns, Lenny. We have people that are going to go out there and take a look at that. I think really we're talking about, I think the road closed sign is on if you're approaching from Georgia, approaching Fenton from Georgia, the road closed sign is on one side of the street, and I think on the other side of the street you see the businesses are open sign. Yeah, we're going to take a look, see if there's a better way that we can present that information. We have to be careful though. We can't block pedestrians by putting these large signs right across the sidewalk without being careful on how we do it. But we hear your concern. Yeah, absolutely.
I do understand. This is not like the first time that we have talked about it. I was 200% for the purple line. The way I feel at this moment is the purple line is not really looking out for small businesses. This is the way I feel. I've been in that business for 26 years. So it just, I don't know how the other places are, but this is, even when you come to Georgia, from Georgia Avenue, I personally have to look if the road is open or not, even though I know the road is open. So it is, anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. I mean, we hear you. We're very sorry. The insight you're giving us, I'm sure it's extremely annoying what you see out there. So yes, absolutely. We want to go out there and take a look.
Okay. All right.
Thank
you.
Okay, before we answer more questions, we want to have Ray address some other questions that came in ahead of time.
All right, appreciate that, Gary. So following up on a question from Joel regarding fares, as Matt mentioned, the fares have not been determined, but however, the system will accept smart trip cards. So we're working on that. The next question is, what regulations and best practices are being followed to reduce noise in residential neighborhoods, both during construction and operation? We talked about this a little bit. I think Gary had a question above, but just to reiterate, during construction, we are closely monitoring construction operations to ensure that the project is abiding by all county-imposed noise restrictions. The project is following the county's process for any noise waivers required for work outside of normal construction hours, and during operations, the noise wall will help to reduce noise. The next question is, what protocol is in place to ensure safety of pedestrians around the work zones? You heard our construction managers talk about pedestrian routes and the changes in how we're ensuring safety, especially along Wayne Avenue near the schools over there. But to answer this question here, pedestrian access will be maintained around all project work zones. Our team establishes pedestrian detours in accordance with Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration and notifies the public in advance of any detours that occur. We have staff that circulate the area to ensure that the signage is in proper place and access is maintained at all times. So back to you, Gary, to see if we have some more questions from the attendees.
Gary, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Paulette Dickerson, please go ahead.
Hi, actually, I want to piggyback on that signage thing. My husband actually took pictures all around the library and we looked. There isn't any signage on the Bonifant side that suggests that you have to go around the building for the ADA ramp if you're coming to that side of the building. There's nothing there at all. There is also nothing to say that the main part of the library is still accessible, but you have to go around on the Fenton side. You know, there are no directions into the library building at all. And that's a problem for some people. In an ideal universe, people would know that it's pointless to go up the Bonifant side because you're going to have to go around the edge of the corner, Fenton to Wayne, to get into the building anyway. But there's no signage that says that, which means that that's a problem. There were a couple of other things. One was that there's some like police tape thing that's blocking one of the stairways that goes up to the chain link fence for the construction zone. And I don't think that that's a good solution in a temporary or a permanent way. I don't know if there's a way you can put a gate there or something, but right now it's just yellow tape.
Paulette, this is Carla Julian. How about, I'm going to put my email in the chat. And if you send that to me, I would love to work with you to address these issues.
That sounds great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Carla. We got another question from Kit.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to ask another. This is about the very well-traveled Sligo Creek Parkway path. So I think I understand how you're rerouting people and dogs and bicycles and strollers all the way to Mansfield, up and then back and then across. And it looks like it's going through, I mean, it's going into the construction area seemingly, because there's, well, because people tend to ignore long opportunities for changes, but also because you don't want to create trip hazards in construction areas. I'm wondering if how you're handling keeping the how you're handling keeping those pathways during construction safe, flat, no trip hazards. Is it going to be paved the whole time, or is it, or you know, how is that being handled? And you all undoubtedly know by now that especially on weekends, but really a lot of the time, there's a tremendous amount of traffic, pedestrian traffic.
Absolutely. What I might do is defer to Hayden first, just to make sure if he had any comments. I'm under the impression that most of the detour is traveling along existing sidewalks, but perhaps Hayden, you could clarify that.
Yes, for sure. I just want to assure you that pedestrian safety is our #1 priority throughout Wayne and throughout the whole project. And the area where the pedestrians are going to be accessing to Sligo Creek Trail is going to be paved at all times. So they're not going to be walking on any unlevel surface or anything like that, to make sure no one trips or falls while they're using that trail.
So is that including across Dale? I mean, sorry, across Wayne? Roadway?
Yeah, if you're crossing across Mansfield, the pedestrians are going to be using the existing crosswalk at that location, and pavement is going to be maintained at that area at all times for safety.
Right, but it looks like you go all the way to Mansfield, then you go back halfway, and then you cross Wayne. So Wayne is clearly under some construction. So you're saying that the part that where there is a pedestrian pathway, that will be paved the whole time.
Correct, that will be maintained.
All right, thank you.
Good question. Thank you. And thank you, Hayden.
Okay, good. Other questions? Kara, go right ahead. Unmute yourself, please.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Hi, my name is Kara Honzak, and I'm the city council person for Ward 5, which is the northern part of Tacoma Park. And I'm not officially speaking on behalf of my neighborhood, however, because I haven't gotten a lot of feedback. But I do know that in general, all the kids from our neighborhood go to Sims in terms of middle school, and so it is. There are a number of people who bike to get there. I have noticed, and this is very much tagging along from the previous question, there are some potholes existing on the path currently that I would like to see get filled as quickly as possible. They have been really terrible during rainstorms, and also they got filled with ice most recently. So if y'all could take a look at that, that would be really, really helpful. My second quick point is I'm wondering whether you have looked a little bit at the traffic flow that's going to result from the new pattern that you said would begin in the beginning of 24, I think you said, that would be closed for a whole year. That right now, the traffic flow coming every morning down Sligo Creek to Wayne, which you say is going to be blocked off turning left there, is so backed up that the traffic can go back for, really, really far. And if we're diverting that traffic, it's going to be going on to Piney Branch and through Dale, probably. That would include school buses, city buses, as well as a lot of different cars. So I'm just wondering if you've gone that far back, along where the cars are going to end up stopping to look at kind of what the impacts are going to be, because that's a long time to be closed. And could you just clarify too, is that a whole year? Is that what you said? for that pattern to be the case starting at the beginning of 24?
Actually, Kara, the pattern has started. That was
Okay.
implemented this week. So
Okay.
the impacts are now, and
Okay.
it will go for a while. I believe that the actual MOT may switch a little bit, but what the impact is of having one lane in each direction is going to be quite long term. So you're absolutely right. We tried during our initial outreach to, gently suggest that those who don't need to use this part of Wayne may wish to find an alternate route. However, we can't enforce who uses Wayne Avenue. And I think you're right. I think it is going to be very uncomfortable for a period of time, especially as people are getting used to it, and especially if they find that they're having trouble with the no left turn onto Sligo Creek, or even working on the left turn onto Dale, when it's only one lane of traffic. So yes, we've looked at it, and unfortunately, it is going to be difficult for a little while, and we're very sorry about that. Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but could you just clarify that so I can tell constituents that are going that direction, and which includes myself, every day? Yeah. So that how it started now, and you're predicting approximately that it would go on through the end of 24? Did I catch that?
I don't specifically know the answer. I'll see if Hayden does, and if not, we'll give it to you in writing as part of the response afterwards. Hayden, are you aware of where we're going with this?
I can't give you a specific date exactly right now, but we'll definitely come back to you and give you that answer right away.
Okay, great. Thanks, Hayden. And also, as far as the pedestrian and bike paths, potholes, I know we took a look at it earlier this week. We did see some absolute depressions in the path that we want to address. If there are really significant ones that are what you would consider emergency something, certainly take a photo and give it to us so that we're aware of it. I wasn't sure that we had spotted anything that was, need to take care of immediately, as in an emergency, but let us know of what you see, Kara. And again, we're also walking the area, and Carla's aware, and we're working with the construction teams to make sure that these, I guess what their asphalt trails are maintained properly and with the correct level of smoothness.
Okay, Melvin, you got another question. Are there other questions? Please raise your hand.
I'm sorry, I thought I'd unmuted already. It's about East Bonifant Street again, and it's a question I think I've asked long before you guys got involved. And the answer has been, don't worry, the trains are moving slowly there. But the essence of it is a design question that affects what you'll be constructing. On the south side of that section of Bonifant Street, people going to the shops have parked cars and a lane of traffic between them and the moving trains. On the north side, they'll be walking down this sidewalk you're building, and I don't know how much what is in the design to keep the pedestrians and the trains apart. There's no line of parked cars. There's no lane of traffic. And so far, I haven't seen a design that makes it clear that pedestrians, it's one thing for a car going down the road to bump a train, but it's terrible when a pedestrian walking down the sidewalk bumps a train, even at a slow speed. So would you check the design on that and make sure that when I'm staggering home, I'm not gonna, hey, now, Gary, but you got the idea.
Yeah, I mean, Melvin, I'll tell you that there is no designed for like fences or gates or anything to really close off the sidewalks from the streetway. In general, I think most people would find that to not be visually appealing as a part of a roadscape for this type of a business environment. However, you know, the vehicles, the light rail vehicles will be following the same speed limits as the cars. You know, I don't know that you're any less safe walking into a car or a bus as it is walking into a light rail on this type of speeds. But yes, we understand your question and we'll continue to check it.
There won't be any grass panel between the sidewalk and the curb.
I don't know the answer to that. Let us look that up.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, another question from Alan Bowser.
Thank you for taking my second question. I'm looking at a picture now of a large wood platform, which is at the intersection of Wayne Avenue and Sligo Creek Parkway with construction machinery on it. Can you just tell me what the purpose of that platform is? It's not clear. I know that you're going to install a new bridge at some point, but what's the point of that large wood platform at the intersection of Sligo and Wayne Avenue?
I'm going to pass it to Hayden. I'm guessing it's some sort of a staging and make sure that we're not causing damage to probably for Sligo Creek. But Hayden, I will defer to you.
Are you talking about like a platform like on the actual road, like steel plates? Is that what you're talking about? Or
No, it's on the land which is on the north side of Wayne Avenue, right alongside the creek.
I'll have to get back to you on that. I'll definitely check on it, but I'm sure there's a safety purpose for it. But let me double check on that for you, and I'll have a response for you.
Thank you.
Alan, can you send us that picture, please?
Absolutely.
Hi, hi, this is Ed Davis, the area manager for that area. Are you speaking of on Sligo, if it's the north side, if it's right on the sidewalk, it might be covering an inlet that was damaged, and that's scheduled to be replaced.
No, this is a huge wooden platform that's been laid down. There's, there's a truck on it. There's large construction machinery. I'll send it to Gary.
Okay, I think I know what you mean. This is for us to safely access the creek. We need to put wood mats to protect the tree roots. So it's a requirement for us to be able to protect the trees, basically. I think that's what you're referring to.
I'll send a picture to Gary.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Joel, do you have another question?
Yes, I talked to you offline. I had read in the newspaper that they're going to have another delay for another year, 2027. And I talked to you, and they said that's not going to happen. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I hope it stays be on schedule on the 2026.
Yeah.
The opening of the Purple Line, and maybe we can, all these communities around the station can have a little reception and enter the Purple Line on the Bethesda, and on the other side, and the Kelton have a little ceremony and ribbon cutting.
Well, we would never turn down a ceremony, Joel, but we agree with your concerns about what the newspaper printed. That was the Washington Post printing that potential 7-month delay, which came from our lender's technical advisor. That was, Joel, why we put together this mitigation team back in October, that we've been working with the construction firm and the concessionaire to see what we can do to do more work in each area to make sure that we can take back those days that that are feared to be lost. So it's our hope that we are going to mitigate those delays.
Okay, other questions?
Thank you for the answer.
Absolutely.
You have a good evening now. I think that's
Thank
all
you,
I
Joe.
have right now.
Okay, and thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. That concludes our 10th CAT meeting for Silver Spring. Again, you can send us questions after tonight at our inbox is outreach@purplelinemd.com. That's outreach@purplelinemd.com. If your question was not addressed tonight, all questions will be posted later in a question and response posting on the website. Again, you can sign up for construction notices at purplelinemd.com. purplelinemd.com. For project questions and comments, again, contact our inbox, outreach@purplelinemd.com, or you can call us at 443-451-3706. That's for English, and Spanish is 443-451-3705. Those numbers have been placed in the chat. Again, this meeting will be online, so you'll be able to watch it in a few days. We're also manning our hotline, telephone hotline, 24 hours. So if you call, someone will take your call and someone will get back to you as soon as possible. Again, that concludes our CAT meeting. We thank you for joining us and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you.